We're back live on Follow Everton. I don't know what happened there, but I think one of our overly enthusiastic members of the team have accidentally pressed ended, which is a shame because we peaked with several hundred people live at that moment. But yeah, Everton winning 3-2 at home to Crystal Palace, and we've been going through many comments, and we'll continue to do. So yeah, Everton winning 3-2 against Crystal Palace, and we will have members of the team. Unfortunately, I think that the stream has even forgiven with the stress of the Everton win today that we ended up getting so excited. I've ended the stream, so apologies if you made a comment. I'm sure we can find the comment, but keep them rolling in because we're going to be going through more. And yes, Chris is right. We just can't deal with this again. I don't think that the stress level from the season is good for anyone. And John and Dan will be coming back in just a second. And my main thing from today is it's been a huge relief. Everton finally safe after the season from hell. This has been, just simply put, the worst footballing season I can ever remember for Everton. Mark says, times to relax on Sunday. I think he's right. We've got to basically try and enjoy, for once, a match on Sunday, and who knows what will happen. But it's academic now. Everton they've had the record number of defeats in the Premier League. Probably the record number. I think they've conceded the most goals in any Premier League season. Yeah, we'll have our team back on in just a few minutes. Regular watcher, Wanderlust says, I wonder what Lamps told them at half time. He's right. It's something that I was thinking about. What was it that was in the team talk that galvanised the team? And we were dead and buried after 2 goals. The second goal was an absolute killer at schoolboy defending. We had 5 men back against 2 Palace attackers. And, Pickford, he does get a hand to the shot, but in the end, it sort of trickles into the net. You're just stunned at that point. 2-0 down. You think we're not going to come back from that? Well, I certainly didn't think so. And I just wonder what the halftime team talk consisted of. We did get Delhi coming on, and of course, if you are just sort of joining us, I mean, I'm sure you'll have seen the scenes, but they're quite incredible with the amount of fans that went on the pitch. Apparently, no fans were on the pitch. If you from any authorities. And hopefully Everton don't get into trouble for the invasion. I think it was inevitable. I didn't know whether we were going to do it today, so I wasn't personally thinking about whether we were going to invade the pitch. And I think it was one of those instinctive things. But what a turnaround for the club. I mean, from the earlier season, we start the season like a house on fire under Rafa, and then it just capitulated, and then we had almost a divide between the fan base, and then everyone was losing faith, and then obviously having to get rid of Rafa, and then interim manager, and then we had Lampard join, and it's just been an absolute roller coaster, and it's been quite frightening as a fan. We are getting our team back on. But if you just joined us, keep the comments rolling and make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Sorry to the 400 people that were watching live and then got cut off. My brother is a pillock. But we'll get that going. And hopefully we'll have Dan joining us back in. And I'm pleased to say that he's back with us now. Dan, as I said, I think Basil was a pillock and switched off our stream that was peaking around about 4 billion viewers, but
we'll get them back.
We will get them back, and I think
we're up.
and the shirt that's never been washed for the last few games. I thought we'd thrown away the chance. I thought once we didn't do the business against Watford, and then we obviously had a really difficult game against Brentford, I really thought we'd mucked up the chances. That shirt's never coming off.
I'm buzzing. I watched it and I thought it had lost its look, and I had you in my head because I thought to myself, shall I just get rid of it? Shall I put my blue one back on? But no, I believed in it, and we did it, mate. We did it, mate. I'm buzzing, I am. Even my partner, she don't support Everton that much. She watches them with me. She said she's nearly crying. She doesn't even support Everton. She's nearly crying because she knows all the stuff. She's heard me on the spaces. She's heard me on these chats. She's heard me on the podcast. That how stressed we are, mate. How hard it's been for us Everton fans and stuff like that. And when she was watching it with me, and when Richarlison scored, it was emotional because she was like, "Oh my God, Richarlison's got us into this. He's got us drawing." And then that goal, you knew if the winning goal would be like the sort of goal it was with Calvert-Lewin, like a cross and put all your body on the line.
Is that proper number 9? You know.
Yeah, proper. Like it was like, oh mate, it was a buzzing. Oh, I'm so buzzing, mate. It's done now. It's done.
Goal. There's no chance of going to bed anytime soon, so you might as well stay on the stream. The adrenaline is immense. I won't lie. I had a full-on migraine before this match. I mean, I'll prove it. I mean, I've got the picture of the ibuprofen, but I mean, pretty much, yeah, I couldn't move. Before the match, I was so stressed about this game because it's very intense when you're there, Dan. I mean, I watched it today, and I didn't watch it at Goodison, but I was there on Sunday. When you're there, it's so tense and stressful compared to watching it. I mean, it's stressful for us, anyone that's joining us, but when you're there, it's intensified. I think you feel it a lot more. And I think today was one of those games where it was just like, well, where were you? And in our case, it's on a video, but it's a historic moment for Everton. But it shouldn't have come down to this, should it? I mean, are we better than this, or is this a reality check?
All this is about is staying up. We're not saying it was good enough because now we're up. There's another strike. Change needs to happen. We cannot be in this situation again. Things on the board and stuff like that needs to change. It needs to change now because if it doesn't change, it's going to be the same again next season. Something needs to happen. I know they've done well at the end of the season and they've kept us up, and I'm buzzing that the players have done that. I appreciate it massively, but it's not been good enough, has it? We shouldn't be in this situation. Everton should be better than this. We shouldn't celebrate staying up. We should be pushing for like top 4 or Europa League 6th position like we did Moyes. We should be doing that at least, mate. We shouldn't be going down. We haven't gone down. And if they took us down today, it would have been a proper disaster, wouldn't it? But luckily, and I thank the players loads. They have let us down, but I thank them loads for keeping us up, because if we went down, my heart would have been broken.
There's been countless things that have gone against us, from the handball against City, which probably in hindsight we would be okay with that because if it stops the other side winning the league. But that decision, the one at the weekend, there's a whole list of them. There's many errors that basically that cost us goals. Dan, this is the most goals we've conceded in a Premier League season. Why do you think that is?
Defenders that ain't good enough, basically.
That's a good answer.
Yeah.
So do you think Everton can persuade Mina to stay? Do you think that they need to source new defenders, or do you think it's just a question of getting Godfrey?
Bye, Yerry Mina. If you can't play 75% of the games, then you can't play for us, because we need players that are going to be there. He wasn't there. We've said all season like this. We've never needed centre backs so much ever, and Mina wasn't there when we our last game. He wasn't there, was he? He just wasn't there. So if you're not going to be there, then don't be at our club. Basically, that's what I'm going to say. If you can't be there at the hard times when we need you, then they're not good enough. Like, move them on.
I hope that we'll get Yandolf on and maybe one of his poems. Who knows? I mean, if you stay tuned, we'll try and get
Is he trying
some
to
reaction from. I don't know. I think he will be coming back on in just a second. But before we bring him in, Eugene, and I'm getting very excited for the fact that Yandorf is going to come in because I just don't know what he's got up his sleeve. But before he does, of course, Everton were the Kings at against Palace today. 3-2 winners. If you just joined us, I'm sure you know the result. But just to remind you, and it keeps sinking in, Everton winning against Palace and securing Premier League survival. Eugene says we need a clear out. Well, yes, I think that's been evident for quite a while. And of course, we'll be looking at the impact of some of the stuff that's happened this season on Everton's squad for next. But I'm sure there's a lot of work for Lampard to do. I'm absolutely delighted that Yandorf's going to be joining us now. Jan, wow, what a match.
Fucking hell.
I think he's going to get booked for taking his shirt off.
I don't care. I give him a yellow card, I give him a red card, I give him a birthday card, give him whatever. Gosh, yeah. Jesus Christ. I've got to say out there, if anyone is expecting a poem, they can do one because I needed like 12 hours to decompress from that.
No chance of a poem.
The roller coaster of emotions. I was crying.
My God.
I was crying. Like, I've had people coming up and shaking my hands going, hey, yeah, I hope we do it and all that kind of stuff. And then I was thinking, we're absolutely fucked and this is it. And I've just seen the death of Everton Football Club and the last Premier League football at Goodison Park. Then I thought, oh, great, it's going to be squeaky bum time for Highbury. And then of all the scores, of all the times, my dad was saying on the last thing, the number of times that 3-2 has been a cursed score. I mean, I can't. I'm just.
Why do Everton never make it easy for themselves, and particularly make it challenging for fans to? Why is it so stressful? Why can't we win the game 3-0?
Because anything worth doing is never really easy, is it?
Is that what's so special about Everton as a football club? For all we've not won much in the last 27 years. We haven't won a throw-in, but for all we've won, the fans, the spirit of the club, the unity of the club, the passion that's there, the way that it's just raw emotion, but the togetherness of this football club is quite special, and I think that it just keeps everyone together. But at the same time, does it always have to be like this? Why is it like this all the time?
The thing is though, for me though, Steve, let's not beat around the bush. We didn't come back in that game if the Dele Alli substitution didn't get made. Dele Alli coming on and Gomez coming off gave us the opportunity to come back and win the game. It changed the game. It come on.
I can't disagree with you, Dan.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as we saw the sub, I thought, that's the right sub. But how many times did you say an Everton manager do that at halftime? That's the right sub. It doesn't happen. And we've seen managers gone by where they leave it, like give it 10 minutes in the first half. Lamps was brave, made the substitution, and it paid off. You could see that Everton were getting a lot more creative in their threat, but also they did go route one, didn't they, Jan, with some of their mix-up play.
I know. I mean, I was thinking every time that Pickford lumped the ball forward, I was thinking, Christ, we're going to do what we did against Watford or Brentford, just lump it forward and do fuck all. Sorry, Ryan seems to think it's okay to swear. What's your opinion, Steve?
You've got to swear.
I think on this occasion you can do what you want.
Yeah, do what you want.
As long as you're not caught.
Fuck me 7 ways from Sunday. Why does Everton have to be such torture? I cannot. I just. Oh. You're right.
So I
don't have an answer.
With what happened with the fans on the pitch, and everything's just raw emotion today. So I think you can get away with a lot more. We don't have any house rules. I doubt there's any small kids still up. When our little one wakes up in the morning, I'll have to.
I won't be streaking up and down. What was that people were saying on Twitter? If Everton win, we'll be streaking. I was like, nah, no thanks, mate. I mean, get me in a speedo. No, I'm not. But in relation to your question, why do Everton make it so difficult? I'm gonna maybe sort of piss on the bonfire a little bit here, and we build our hopes up because we overperformed with Moyes, and the link-up play we had with P&R and Baines, and we can wax lyrical all day about times gone by. We've overperformed, and we haven't been a very good team for a long time.
Yeah,
and
I think you do cite probably the best team in recent history. And we did have a good midfield then, but what we had then is synergy. It's something that we've really lacked since. It just seems like there's no flow between players, almost like they're a bunch of players that have been thrown together rather than actually have that sort of build-up play that, we had Pienaar and Baines as a combo. We had, Jaggy Elk. We had certain partnerships in the team. At the moment, it feels like you can't really name the partnerships. You can't name the centre-back pairing. You can't really name the strike force. You can't name the front three. They keep changing. But Dan, I mean, where do we go from here? Do you think that Everton need to just take the foot off the pedal and try and regroup?
I think there's a lot of change now. A lot of us fans couldn't call things out because we didn't. Us as fans, and I know everyone else was the same, we didn't want to risk knocking the players' confidence and taking them down and calling them out. But I'm sorry, we wouldn't be in this situation if the players didn't put us in this situation. And I am grateful that they did that the second half because they have completely saved our arse. But it's not our arse they've saved. They've saved their own arse because they put themselves in this situation. I mean, I've seen Everton play well these last, seven games they've started to perform. You've got to be like that all season. Why do you need to be in a relegation battle to decide to perform like that?
Newcastle.
They should appreciate playing for Everton and feel the passion that we feel every single game. And this is what we've got to look at. It was the same with the first half. It's character. They've come out, the Everton players have come out and they've got scared. That's what's happened. They've got scared. Our atmosphere is amazing. We're behind them. But they've started getting paranoid and thinking, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. And the game's gone down the pan because they've got scared. Mikalenko made a mistake. And he completely made a mistake and didn't even challenge him for the header. Then Coleman made a mistake. Instead of going for it and fighting to win the game, we've just thought about it too much and got scared. That's what's happened for me. And we've had a bad first half where everyone has completely not turned up and played the game. Corey was awful first half. And then second half, we're thinking we're 2-0 down. We've got nothing to lose. We're already losing. We've already lost this game. Let's just go out, not be scared, and play a game and show some balls. And that's what they did. They come out second half. Ali helped a lot. They come out second half, and they thought, right, let's not be scared. Crystal Palace ain't that good. Let's just go for it. We're 2-0 down anyway. And they went for it, and they did. And I believe that they could come back. And that's what they did. They fighted and they come back. But we should have done that from the start. We need to conquer why that didn't happen from the first half.
Please, Fideli tonight, absolutely. I mean, Dan, you make a good point. The fact that Frank said in his team talk yesterday, or the new press conference yesterday, not only do we need 11 players on the pitch who are committed and know what it means, we need 11 Evertonians who know what it means to pull on the shirt. Like I've said it week in, week out, we give the local lads a bit more stick, but we give any player, we forgive a lack of ability because that's just, you can't help that. There's nothing you can do about that. If you're not amazing, if you're not world class, it's just what you're born with. But by God, you've got to fucking run for every ball because the players earn more in a week than most families earn in a year. And if you aren't going to chase every ball, you can get off the pitch. And I
was watching Jan. I was watching a video. I'm not sure what manager said it, but it was an old school video of an Everton manager in the changing room, and the manager said, you've got to be willing to die for the team. And it's the person that's willing to die for the team, to go that extra inch. That's the difference between winning and losing. And first off, they wasn't willing to do that. And that's why they got the better of us, because we wasn't willing to go that extra inch. But the second half, Richarlison scoring, Keane and Holgate pushing up and going that extra inch to get us that goal. And Calvert-Lewin, who, let's face it, a lot of people have been against him. he wanted to do it for us, didn't he? He wanted to save our arse, and I was glad he did.
He didn't look like a player. Danny, you're right. He didn't look like a player who was on his way out. He kissed the badge. I mean, they all do that, but he didn't. You can see through body language if someone's on the way out.
Yeah. No, and you're right. And I don't think, I mean, to be fair, I mean, let's be realistic. Richarlison is our best player, but he's not the kind of player that even compares to the best players in the top 5 or 6 teams. In my mind, I think, you know, we overestimate him a little bit in the because perhaps it's because he's not playing with a team that has that confidence and synergy and cohesion. I mean, as you say, Dan, I think a lot of the blame lies with circumstance that we've had a succession of managers that have tried to implement different styles of football, tried to bring in big signings or tried to build the team around certain players, and it's not worked. So we've ended up with a hodgepodge of who the fuck knows.
You're right. That's a good summary of the way that the side has been. I think just reacting to Everton's 3-2 win following our earlier stream where we peaked with 400 live watchers. Gary Lineker says, "Looking horrible. What an incredible comeback from Everton," with 3 applauds in his emojis. Of course, there's been much said about the disgusting tackle from Jordan Ayew. He went on to score a calamity of a goal, really, in the Gladys Street and put Palace to. Yeah,
Guardian have said that. Guardian have said in the Minute by Minute that should somewhere between a yellow and a red. And the fact that this is the problem with VAR is that if the referee sees it or it's not a clear and obvious error, well, I'm sorry, but if you've got the technology to decide that something is wrong or right just because the referee's seen it or just because he's got a yellow card and it can't be dealt with later, and you know it's bullshit.
It's a really, really, really bad decision because the commentator that I was listening to said it's a red card because he said VAR have said that he got the ball, but then it replayed the tackle and he went through him. He went through Gordon and then his arse landed on the ball after he went through him. So he got the ball after he made the 2-footed challenge. So it's 100% for me a red card. And even the commentator that I'm listening to says it's a red card. He convinced me it was going to be a red card, and I couldn't believe that the referee wasn't looking at it slowly and it wasn't getting replayed. It got moved on too quick. And when your commentator is saying on the screen it's a red card, you can't just move on for that because they're telling me it's a red card. I think it's a red card. Why isn't it a red card? Just red card him. He had no complaints if that was a red card challenge. But for me, it happened. We know we don't get them. We knew we was going to be fighting against the officials because we have all season. It happens. You've got to get used to that now because they're against us. There was. You've got to get on with it. We shouldn't have conceded straight after that. We've got to be better than that because we did it last game.
We've got used to the fact that decisions are not going our way. I actually said it was a yellow and a half. So it's interesting that they mentioned that. Lampard has done his press interview. He said he was overwhelmed and lost for words after Everton securing their 3-2 victory and in doing so, the Premier League survival. I've also seen a headline involving Patrick Vieira, whether it's true or not, kicking an Everton fan during the pitch invasion. We'll pick up on that. That's coming from the Telegraph. There's lots and lots of news and things to digest. If you've just joined us, Everton winning 3-2 at home to Crystal Palace. Amazing, unprecedented scenes at Goodison Park for the first time, not on a final day, to see scenes like that for Everton surviving a 68-year run in the top flight. They have conceded more goals this season than any other Premier League season. I think we've lost more games than I could even count, something like 21 or something like that. Crazy amount of games. Yet we have escaped with one game to go. A game we can enjoy in the final game of the season. I'm sure there'll be Blues who are watching Man City against Villa instead, but maybe in the background. Yeah, Jan, so it'll be a while before we get a poem from you. Any other thoughts on the team? Anyone that stood out for you? I thought Decore ran himself to the ground today.
Yeah, it's very difficult when you see it, when you go to the match. For me, I find it a lot easier to comment on the whole team performance when I watch it on TV. I don't know if there's anybody watching who can make that sort of differentiation between going in person and watching it on TV, because it's a lot easier to focus on the ball and obviously a lot lower down. I don't know. I feel that like Gray coming on was a fantastic move, and he really, really tried hard. People are going to slate Gomez because he's not up to speed, but I could see that the way that Palace was set up, the way that they were probing in the sort of channels to get it played across the back. I'm sorry, I keep realizing I've got to hold back tears. You might, if you're just joining us, you might see Yandalf cry.
Of course, it's a very emotional night.
Get Basil's not on. Zoom into him crying. Get the emotion.
Yeah. But Pickford saved us because it could have quite easily gone wrong, and he made some very fundamental saves and handed it off round the side. And I mean, there were several times when I thought that Palace were just going to bend us over right towards the end and just, okay, here we go. Here's the script going to plan. Pickford had a fucking good game, and I don't think you can blame him for either of those. I thought Mykolenko is growing into himself. Keane had a bloody good game, not in relation to the goal.
He commanded the box. I mean, the thing is, we swarmed like a pack of wolves when they had the ball. Second half, the performance was great from all the team. But I think that there was a chance. You mentioned Pickford. He's got to be up there with player of the season for me, because the saves he's made, you wouldn't make those savings in the bazaar. But no, it was just incredible save. I thought the net was going to bulge. There was a really good chance that Palace had at the Park end, which really would have just, I think it was at 2-1.
And it came straight at him, and he just he poured it down towards our left, but Pickford's right.
John Morris says atmosphere is electric. Ryan's back on now. Are you at home, Ryan, or are you auditioning for the 5th part in Bohemian Rhapsody?
I'm just a poor boy from a poor family.
Maybe that'll be the inspiration for Jan.
Steve, thanks for doing a good job on the stream. Unfortunately, I know we had the problem before where we had 400 people watching live, and David, my brother, obviously, trying to end.
Naming no names.
Didn't realise by clicking X instead of just leaving it, he clicked end, and we lost it all with 400 people watching live, hanging on every word. But I'm going to pass you to make amends. He's going to do a little reaction. He's going to host the last few comments, the last few things with you guys to give his thoughts on the game.
A decent number of comments. Thank you, Ryan, for taking over. Guys, have a lovely evening. I'm going to try and come down from this adrenaline, and I'll see you on the next stream.
Bye.
Yeah, don't cut the stream off, mate.
No. Bye, Steve. Don't click anything.
Bye
just that. Well, I'm going to give you my thoughts on the game shortly. Short summarise, guys, and if you're just joining, I hope you've enjoyed listening to Yandalf and Dan and Stevie, of course, who've been giving you, no doubt, the most amazing match reaction. And in a moment, I'm going to pass over to Basil for his thoughts and any remaining final 11 o'clock hour, the 11th hour late night Everton show, you can call it. Where do you start with that? I mean, Everton don't have games like that where they go 2-0 down and then come back at 3-2. And there was a tear in my eye when we scored the goal. And I just thought at 2-0 down, we are dead and buried. That's completely it. There's no chance we're getting back into it. Yandalf's extremely emotional because he can't believe it. But, 2-0 down. And it was typical Everton, really. The way I see the goals were very much a repetition of what we'd seen all season, which was a set piece, a stupid foul you don't need to give away, and then a set piece, which you concede from. And the second goal we conceded was, from my end, Park end, for me, completely diabolical. Coleman slipping on the ball, Pickford flapping at the cross, Mykolenko taking it away from Pickford, and then some bizarre thing on the line. I mean, I could only see from the opposite end of the ground. To me, it looked like a shit show.
Yeah, it was like you said, like literally everything went wrong. Everyone fell over each other. It started with Coleman slipping over, Pickford flapping it, Mykolenko falling into Decore falling into him. It was the player that should have got sent off for them. Ayew should have got sent off. Of course, he's going to score when he should have got sent off 2 minutes ago. He miskicks it. He miscontrols it.
It's a Bucky's dream, isn't it?
Yeah. So it went in with a miscontrol.
It's a bookie's dream. I mean, Evertonians should be really rich. The last time we were in this position, we were 2-0. We won 3-2, 2-0 at home. Wimbledon, I think. You know, coming back, Calvert-Lewin getting the last laugh after the injury. But
it's almost as great as 1966 FA Cup final, going 2 goals down against Sheffield Wednesday and winning 3-2. Yeah, at half time as well.
Unbelievable. 2-0 down, half time. We're ready to literally commit and go home. Yeah, something like that. We were off. We'd had enough, honestly. But realistically, we thought we were dead and buried. It was going to be Arsenal. Compound matters. Burnley were winning. I was really sulking at half time, feeling extremely miserable. And then Dele Alli comes on. Okay. And you're thinking, fucking hell, this is a brave move because this could go the complete opposite way. David, you agree, don't you? You thought he can be quite lazy, but he did the business.
Ryan, I'll let you keep speaking, but for me, that was what I wanted us to start with. I wanted us to start with Dele Alli instead of Gomez, because you've got to go to win the game and you've got to be confident. And Dele Alli, for me, was a player in that game that could have made a difference because he's played at a high level. And you put him against the Crystal Palace team that we're letting them think they're better than what they are. Ali will come on and say, I've played against you loads and battered you before. He'll come on and he'll change the game. And he did. We need to attack. We needed to win. He should have started. Lampard got it wrong. And when he come on, he made a big, big difference.
Basil, I think Dan's right. Sorry, Jan. I want to make sure David gets to say something at some point.
Ali's got Champions League final experience and Champions League experience. He's no stranger to a big occasion, is he? But he hasn't really been involved in many of our games, has he? And you think when he comes on, is he going to have that emotion? Is he going to be, as emotional as the others in terms of his desire and work rate? And he was. I mean, he was chasing everything, and he was sliding in. I know he's not the best tackling, but
want that emotional player. We needed, as you say, we needed someone actually to come on and control the game. Yandalf, we said in our match preview, didn't we? 4-3-3 was the way to go. And we set up with the 5 at the back. It invited them on. It didn't let us press with enough people high up the pitch. And Palace took advantage. It was when Dele Alli came on, we switched to a 4-3-3. And really, it was a boxing match with only one winner there in that half. And it was a case of how many could Everton get before the 45 minutes were up. Did you at any point think truly Everton were going to come back and win 3-2?
Honestly, when it was 2-0 down, I'd almost resigned myself to, I'd resigned myself to accepting that we were going to be taking trips to Preston and, and just, I was just hoping that the return to the Premier League would be in.
He's going. Put him out, back in. Your speaker's crackling.
Mine?
Yours is Dan.
I hope we haven't got that dreaded crackling.
Everyone sounds like a robot.
Dan sounds like a robot.
Dan sounds like a robot.
What about me? Am I sounding all right to you guys?
Fine.
Dan, come back in. Back out.
How's it sounding now?
Yeah, Yandalf, you're very clear.
Thank you.
I can't stay on this stream for too long, and I'm actually doing a separate video tomorrow, either on potentially on my own. But I can see Yandalf, you look like you've been crying. You genuinely look like you've been in tears. By the way, this is Basil, David, my brother.
Emotion.
The first goal goes in. I'll be honest with you. Was this the Michael Keane, the fantastic? Was it a left-footed finish? Something.
I don't know. I didn't expect it to go in. He just sort of.
It just kind of landed at him in the box, didn't it? It just landed to him. I've seen him do it in training, but when he has it in a match, he just flumps it, doesn't he? He just hits it over, and it just fell for him. And it was in point, the two halves. It was a game of two halves. One half where the ref was giving them all the decisions that were not even their decisions, and we couldn't bring passes together. We couldn't create clear-cut opportunities. Palace just had total control. And, the other half where I think the momentum swung in our favour when that ball fell to Keane and made it 2-1. And from that moment, that was when the hope and the kind of real feeling was that we were going to get back into that game.
You know
It
what?
wasn't just that. It was that there were 40,000, Evertonians there. And I mean, Jesus, it's why I started writing, anything to get everybody fired up to be the 12th man. And the fact that everybody kept singing, kept going, kept pushing them over the line. And the moment that we were sort of close to getting that when that second goal went in, I didn't think that it was going to be 3-2. To be fair, I thought it was going to play the odds game and see how it panned out for Burnley and Leeds at the weekend, and hope that we didn't get completely tonked and that they get beaten. But
they will, by the way. Now that off, I've got no guarantee. I reckon we'll win away at Arsenal, and Leeds won't get a point at Brentford. But I'll be honest with you. I mean, just in the nature of because of the time and everything, at 2-1. I didn't stand up. I didn't celebrate because I was just, you get sucked back in, you get the false hope, and it doesn't come off. It doesn't happen to us, to be honest. At 2-2, the Richarlison goal, which left-footed, phenomenal. The ground is bouncing. We were celebrating if we'd won. And I'll be honest again, David and Warren, who sits next to us in the park end, were bouncing up and down, and I'm a bit motionless still because I'm thinking this doesn't really mean anything at the stage still. At 3-2, oh my God, and Calvert-Lewin, let's just say, he was phenomenal today. Everything went up to him. He won it first. He was first to everything. He was phenomenal, and I'm so happy that it was him after getting all the stick and having all the injuries, and that he had the last laugh and he got the goal. And that at 3-2, we shut up shop. We were clever, we were smart, we made the change, and we saw the job, and I lost the words. And I really can't wait to hear, Yandalf, your poetry for this game when you get the time to really think about this. Because really, it was poetic to go 2-0 down, the classic set-piece goal, the comedy goal, to have the referee wave away. Terrible decisions. The red card, which wasn't, but nothing.
It seemed like it was. It seemed like it was an all too familiar script. And I know I sound like a broken record here, but for crying out loud, we've seen so many questionable things, and not to beat a dead horse, but it was just. It was, rather than it being the straw that broke the camel's back, it seemed like it was just the anvil on the pile of dead camels over the cliff edge. It was like another thing that was just going to be. Why are they doing this? Why does this happen? What's
like a weird trick? I mean, to me, we're saying obviously throughout the game, and I'm going to go now, and I'm going to pass over to David, who you're going to have a good chat with for the next 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But it felt like someone was playing a weird trick. I mean, it really did. Cruel. But you know what? The fans are phenomenal. They deserve it. And I've got no problem with anyone pitch invading for survival. Because you know what? It's not celebrating success, Yandalf and Basil. It was letting your emotions off and the relief. And to be fair to you, they're entitled to do it because it puts us through absolute hell. The sleepless nights, the anxiety, the stress, the low moods. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. It's wrecked my moods for weeks, for months. And I've been miserable because of it. And now the massive weight off my shoulder. I'm going to go in. I'm going to have a glass of champagne, which I don't normally have a drink. But someone gave me this champagne at a gig a few weeks ago. I'm going to crack it open, have a drink, and I'll leave you to have a nice chat. I'm going to watch it back. I'm sure a lot of people will be watching the stream back tomorrow because Everton content will be absolutely booming. Everyone's going to watch everything. Dave, enjoy your chat with Yandalf. You'll have a great 10 minutes or so before you wrap things.
Enjoy your evening.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
As he says, it's just we've lost so many games, haven't we? And we've been down in the dumps so many times that this one is like the ultimate kind of let off and release. That Everton fans have finally got something to relax because it's been misery for weeks and weeks and weeks. But it's just pure relief. Have you just been in the game as well, Yandalf?
Yeah, I literally just got back. and I'm just drained. The roller coaster of emotions, because I was I always go to the game with my dad, and I was saying, right, come on, let's get, I was walking around the house not knowing what to do, and it was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 3 o'clock. I was like, I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. Like, and finally it got to about 4:30. I'm thinking, right, defo, go down the supermarket, get myself a box of ciders and stand by the Dixie Dean statue, and cheer on the coach. Like, create that atmosphere, Fortress Goodison, that, show the players what it means, that it's something that not a lot of fans can understand, and certainly a lot of my friends. And I don't want to get partisan here and talk about other football clubs, with who shall not be named. But I've got so many friends who are football fans, who support a certain other team, and they've never been to a single match. And they wax lyrical. I always go like, "Oh, we won this, we won that." It's like, who are we? You weren't there. And every single one of us that goes, that lines the streets, that takes the kids, each one of us owns a piece of that football club and a part of the ground. And it's like our souls are are soaked into the wood. And it breaks my heart that we're going to be leaving Goodison, and just the thought that that she deserves so much more than Championship football, and we've done it. And I don't know what to say. I feel like I'm on the brink of tears.
Well, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't blame you, because we've been through so much this season that, I'm lost for words as well. I'm lost for words. I mean, that was an experience like none other I've seen. I mean, I'm 24, so I didn't see, the likes of Wimbledon and stuff. That was just on the cusp of when I was born. So I've never seen that moment, and hopefully I won't have to see many more moments like this, and we can channel that kind of passion into a real, trophy win, in the next couple of years, and it's not this type of emotion, but it was just incredible today. I mean, going from zero to everything. I thought we were dead and buried at halftime. I thought we were going to be praying.
I couldn't imagine. I did not imagine us turning it around. I thought we might have scraped a draw and possibly hoped for a draw against Arsenal, because a point today relatively was meaningless if we'd have got it, compared to the fact that results can go against us. But there needs to be some form of not to get postseason when we've still got another game, and not to undermine the support, but there really, really does need to be an inquisition. I don't think finger pointing and blaming and calling for people's heads is the right thing, because you might say it stops at the chairman, or you might say it stops at the performances on the pitch, but it's certainly something somewhere. When all season we've been so formulaic that we leave a gap at the back post, or that there's nobody following up corners or free kicks, or that we're not quick. We're not going, okay, we've got the ball, the throw in. It's like we're giving the opposition the opportunity to take their shape again. And there are other football teams that certainly don't do that. I mean, I can think of a certain rather underhanded free kick against Barcelona that seemed a bit unsportsmanlike, And people, you got it in the media. It's like, oh, we're booing this, or or booing the national, or Scousers booing the national anthem, or setting fireworks off. And I'm thinking, hang on, one time we do that, and I've been saying this for 2 or 3 years. The season before Liverpool won the league, you watch it on TV, and they're 2 and 3 goals up, and they're still booing the opposition having possession. And it's just, well, maybe it's about time that we employ some shithousery, because there's certainly there's where's that fight, that passion? Because if we just sort of lope around and go, oh, I've lost the ball, oopsie, my teammates will get it. No, you fucking run and get it. I'm sorry,
it's fine. I mean, it's especially when we've been through, the situation with the referees this year. I mean, it's been well documented. I was looking on Twitter, I was looking through, someone posted all the major decisions. I couldn't quite believe it. I can remember them all, some terrible decisions this season. So we're up against that, as well as being up against the fact, that the team isn't really as a unit, as a playing style. the momentum hasn't been with us. It's been stop-start, and we've had to just find a way through. But as you say, we're going to have a major inquest now into all aspects of the game. And it goes to everything. It's the fans, it's the players, it's the thing. Every element that has been good and every element that has not worked needs to be.
Who would you consider is a must keep for next season? In terms of the first team.
To be honest, I'm not even bothered actually who stays. I mean, because it's just been that bad. I mean, if you're asking me who I would keep, I would probably keep. I'd keep Pickford. I'd keep Godfrey. I'd keep
Mykolenko.
I don't know if he can be as good as we need him to be. I think he's solid defensively, and I think he needs time. So I'm prepared to give him time. I think you've got Patterson coming through, haven't you? We haven't seen him yet in action. So you've got those. You've got who else have we got? Iwobi. I'd give him longer. I know it's weird saying that after the first 2 years of his career, but after the last 6 months, I would be keeping him. I'd be keeping Gordon, and I'd try and keep Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin. But whether they will go for financial reasons or want to go for the likes of Richarlison might get an offer from a Champions League club. People are saying Richarlison's going to go and all this, and if teams like PSG are watching him on a regular basis, they will see he works really, really hard. He'll die for the club, but he's not always a top performer every week. His end quality is variable week on week, and I don't know if he really is up to the level of a Champions League team. So personally, I think he might struggle to go there, and I think he'd be. I'd like them all to give us a chance under Frank to pull something together. What do you think? Is there any particular players you'd be desperate to keep under the situation?
Well, to be honest, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's the young, promising players that have actually stepped up and seem to be building a partnership. I mean, I don't know whether it's wise to keep Yerry Mina, although I think he's a fantastic defender. If there's real questions about his fitness, it's not a reliable centre back when you need that spine of the team. So Pickford, yes, Mykolenko, absolutely, and Patterson, Iwobi, Godfrey, I'd keep.
Would you keep
Alan
the way he's been playing with under Lampard?
That's a good point. That is a very good point. Yeah, if he can step up. But then, I mean, how old's Holgate? 23, 24?
Yeah, he must be 24, 25 now.
Okay.
25. I think he's similar to Calvert-Lewin. They're all in that kind of maturing towards their prime ages, really. You've got Decore's getting on, Allen's getting on. I mean, that midfield area, Gomez really struggled today. He just doesn't be up to it. And Del's out of contract, so there is going to be a kind of an inquest in that area.
I think the important thing is, well, obviously with financial fair play kicking in, and obviously we've been given a breather with COVID. It's really important that we get rid of a lot of the players whose contracts are doubly so if they're getting to that sort of 30+ age bracket and their contracts are expiring. I don't see the point in retaining them unless there's an outstanding reason to do so, because I can't see justifying it based on the performances of this season. I mean, yeah, of course, we've been very unlucky with the number of injuries, with the refereeing decisions, one thing I will say, and I'm pretty sure hopefully someone out there who's watching who's a bit of a mathematical or an analytical genius of some description, but it seems absolutely ludicrous that no one from a media and punditry perspective has commented on the fact that nearly every game we've played, our opposition have had at least one extra day to prepare from their previous game. It's almost as if the entire schedule has been scheduled to bend us over and fuck us dry. Sorry, just...
No, it's an interesting point. I have not actually thought too much into it, but I'm sure it is there. I mean, even the likes of today, we kicked off 15 minutes before that Burnley game.
Yeah,
that's the TV, but really we need to know what the score is. They need to be at simultaneous time, so no one has a sort of psychological advantage there. I don't know. Everything's against us, isn't it? There's only I want to see us putting this huge complaint about the refereeing and document all of it. I know it won't get us anywhere, but it just feels good to get it off your chest. I just noticed the last few years at Goodison, I've noticed the referee, you walk away from the game saying the ref was poor. You're screaming during the match. This wasn't the case 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I don't remember being so sort of irate about the situation. So I don't know what's going on, but
I mean, my dad makes a very good point, though. He says, you know, the better you are, and the more obviously you get the kind of the rub of the green, and there's that sort of favoritism that, of course, the best teams won't do that, but then referees don't seem to understand sometimes the atmosphere of a game, and they'll favour a team or they'll automatically assume that a team that aren't playing well or are behind, you know, are going to be looking for fouls, and it's rather cynical, right? When they clearly don't look at it. I mean, I was watching the Southampton Liverpool game the other day, and the Southampton player was fouled on the side of the box, like it was clearly fouled, and then the ball's played up. And there's a sort of coming together and shoulder barging, and the Liverpool player goes down for less of a foul, and he gives that. Now, I'm not going to, you know, it's obviously Liverpool are vying for the league title, but it seems very strange that the best teams always seem to get the best decisions, and and you know, you can't. I don't know. It's just a broken record, isn't it?
No, it's true. But I have realised the last few weeks that while we've been in such a rut of a position and we've been really fighting to get out, and the aggression has stepped up, that things seem to go against us more and more and more. And it's like the referees, they know we're desperate. We're absolutely desperate today for decisions to go our way. So I think they just think we're appealing and we're shouting about everything, and we're straight over as soon as just a general tackle goes in. And I think they just take that as with a pinch of salt, and it's not refereed, you know, quite impartially. I mean, how can referees be done impartially?
But it seems almost vindictive to a point of view that they've got it out for us since we've highlighted the fact that they made a poor choice, and we've had to, you know, they sort of issued a perfunctory apology. Oh yeah, we fucked up. We made the bad call. Well, okay, what are you going to do about it? Oh, it seems like the schoolyard bully who's been pulled in front of the head teacher to go, you did this, and they're like, yeah, I'm sorry. You know, for instance, the goal, well, the pivotal goal, the turning point in the West Ham game comes from a corner that should not have been awarded. Oh wow, I'm going to get no. I'm in a good place. 3-2. We're up. We've survived next season.
Yeah. I mean, you just think that it would have been a hellish few days up to Sunday. Now it would have been absolutely anxiety wrecking, and it would have been a horrible day on Sunday. Just not knowing, basically, with it being kind of out of our control with our away record and stuff. But we've done it. We've got there. I'm just seeing if what we've got in the comments. If so, if you're still watching, I don't know where we're up to. Thorium saying his voice was nearly gone, and his ears are ringing after that. I bet. I
know I'm struggling here.
He's saying, "Well said, Jan." I'm not sure how far it was. I've never witnessed anything in 26 years. Yeah, exactly. We've got to find a way to avoid this from happening again. That's what we've got to do. And we're not going to just suddenly shot up the league and start finishing 7th next year. But we've got to bridge the gap between, because I don't understand how we dropped off. We've taken out Sigurdsson and we've taken out Hammers and we've taken out Dean, but we've dropped off 7-8 places. I just don't put that completely down to just losing those few players. I know the creativity's gone, but you can't just. We had lots of injuries last year. Those players were missing for parts of the season, and we still finished a lot higher up the league. So I'm not taking it as that because they're gone. that's the reason we've lost all the creativity, and that's it. But we've got to look at how we reverse it, and we start stepping forward. I mean, what we don't know is what the financial situation is. We don't know if we have to sell players, and if so, how much, or if we have to sell to buy. And it's easy for us to make speculation that we want this player to go, or we want a player for that position, or we want this, we want that, but we just don't know if it's even feasible in reality. But we're not making any bones of the fact if we had got relegated, the financial situation would have been dire. So it was imperative that we've managed to do it, and it's such a relief.
I'd be very interested to know, and I don't know whether it'd be something that will ever come to light. I would be very interested to know what Frank Lampard's team talk was at halftime. Because, of course, it was a masterstroke bringing Dele on. Well, say masterstroke, but it seemed obvious, and we were talking about this in the preview about maybe he's the right sort of player to bring on in that kind of role, in the dynamic, loping forward and also controlling midfield attacking sort of position, but also how you can motivate players to think at that point when it's the 11th hour, or it's it's the 11th hour and the 55th minute, or so to speak, and you've got one half of football left to try and pull it out the bag to get 3 goals, which we got. And for some of these players, it's maybe we wouldn't have been able to sell them. Some of them, they'd be intrinsic to the squad, and they'd be there languishing in the Championship for a couple of seasons. Like, how do you? Maybe that's the realization. Lads, you're fucked here if you don't pull this out. I don't know, but
some of them would have left, wouldn't they? But obviously, there would have been quite a few of them trapped there, and we would have been a huge target for other teams in the Championship. I'm just thinking about what we were saying a second ago. I had a point on that. Yeah, the whole situation of the formation. I was sitting there at 20 minutes in, thinking this is just not working for us, and I was disappointed that it took till we went 2-0 before he's told Iwobi to move in, because for me it was a simple tactical tweak, and I think it's just a little bit of stubbornness. And I think when you look at Palace, and you touched on it in the preview that they played the 5 at the back last week, but they usually play a 4-3-3, and I expected them to go 5 at the back, and I thought, well, then if he keeps this 5 at the back for us, we'll be fine. We'll match them up. But Vieira was too smart. He knew that we've played them twice already this season and lost 7-1 on aggregate and outclassed us, and he put it back into the 3 in midfield, and we just couldn't get near them. We just nowhere near them. And
somebody made a good point in the comments, by the way, about sentiments, because I don't know how true it is, but there've been claims knocking around for a few days or a week or so. For instance, Keith Hackett, the former head of PGMOL, say and other people saying that referees are instructed to respond according to what PGMOL's sentiments towards certain clubs or fixtures may be. But someone made a good comment about our links to Russia, but it's also obviously difficult off the back of, certainly when we played Villa and Digne got the attitude from the fans and things thrown, and it's almost like that they're trying to punish and orchestrate the results that they feel that the fan base or the club, due to actions of things outside of football on the pitch, deserve. And the way that the whole match has been orchestrated, or the way that the season's been orchestrated, like the 15-minute after kickoff, it becomes this marketable and saleable commodity where it's less about the actual football and reporting on the football, and it becomes more about it being this spectacle. And that's not fair to the integrity of the game, I don't think. I don't know if you've got thoughts on that.
Not yeah, it beggars belief, really. The kind of the bias, the bias that seems to be creeping in, and the kind of storyline that they're trying to drive. rather than just letting football be football and fans, have control. We've seen in the last couple of years, it's let's form a Super League, let's chuck fans out, let's do this, let's put this kickoff there so they can't get there, and let's start editing the league so that Everton have to go to Arsenal on the final day to get the result. It's all at jeopardy and television sales. I mean, we don't know for sure, do we? But it does feel like everything's against us, and there is a script in it, and it's driven to ensure our misery. I mean, even today, you could argue the first half was driven to make sure that we found no way to score and give Palace the advantage, so that we create that jeopardy of winning the game from the clutches of defeat.
I mean, it also makes, I suppose you could argue as well that knowing how desperate we were and knowing how much it meant a win and Premier League survival, that we were going to push on and try to win the game, even from 2-0 down or 1-0 down, 2-0 down. So it's almost like, oh, well, this would make for exciting TV to have this. And then, well, oh, but if Everton don't do it and it goes to 2-2 or it stays 1-1 or it's a 0-0 draw or something, then the 15 minutes afterwards, all the TV fans can switch over and watch Burnley 15 minutes later. Why is it not a kickoff at the same time? Why not?
Okay, I can't work that one out at all. The only one that's at the same time is on Sunday, I think, with the last day of the season, with everything. Yeah. I'm surprised they haven't started already picking at that, saying, well, that fixture's already a dead rubber, let's put that at 2:00 and we'll have all the important fixtures at a particular time. Oh, you wouldn't put anything past them, would you?
No. All the pundits and reporters almost in apoplectic, well, I don't know, they're sort of in waves of orgasmic joy, like, and now we go to the stadium, passing between one match to the other. Oh, it's gone in. Oh, it's this. And
for us, it's just pain and suffering, and to them, it's just making a mockery, and it's entertaining. We had one comment before on the back of what you were saying about Russia, and he was saying about Gabamin actually and how he's doing in Russia, but somebody else was saying that he thought our Russian links are why the PL hates us, which is interesting. But I think we have cut the ties with, so to speak, with Usmanov now. So I mean, that's just one extra problem of funding that we've got to come up with.
I mean, well, let's not get political on a football channel, but it'd be a bit hypocritical of FA and PGM. You know what? I'm not gonna, because I'll get you banned off YouTube. No, don't even.
Right, just seeing what else we've got here from our viewers. Hughes agreeing we've got to have this serious inquiry about how we got rid of Hammers after Sigurdsson and baffing the wages.
God, El Ghazi. Oh,
well, El Ghazi is obviously just not up to. I just don't think El Ghazi's there for the fight from the outsider perspective. I mean, I don't know anything more than the average Everton fan about that, but I just think Lampard's probably thinking he's going back to Villa. He's probably going to leave Villa. He's not interested. He's not fit for a relegation battle. That's probably why Van der Beek didn't get involved either today, and he probably won't see him again in an Everton shirt.
No, which is a shame. It would have been nice if we'd have had him on a sort of loan to buy option. Well, certainly would have been better if we weren't in this situation. But I don't know whether the style of football that he would have been brought up playing, I don't know whether he'll actually fit in at United, to be fair, because I've had people tell me that they correct me if I'm wrong, anyone in the comments, I've had people tell me that when they've had kids that they put in the United Academy 7, 8, 9 years old, they don't care about football at that age. They teach them to be aggressive. They teach them to like elbow and to knee other kids in the balls. Like I've literally from people, and it's just like, well, you can see that certainly in the sort of types of really hard-hitting players that they've had and that they've produced from their academy, and it kind of makes sense and it ties in. So maybe his sort of total football style, or more Dutch approach, isn't you know, it's not Premier League, it's not German football, it's not lower league sort of fundamentals and sliding in, and you know, it's all very softly. And maybe that he was not the right kind of person to play or to be brought in at times when we're up the creek without a paddle.
I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, have you had any thoughts on whether you would buy him? I mean, if we had a exercise to buy, which I don't believe we do, would you accept it? Or because we haven't really we've seen him play really well for about 3 games at home when he first joined, and he's been injured for such a long time. He had that poor few performances. He got injured at West Ham in the warm-up, and I don't think he's been seen since then.
Well, I mean, it's all gone a bit downhill since then, though, hasn't it? So,
yeah. Well, I think somebody said, from what I read, that he didn't want to join Newcastle because he thought they were in a relegation fight, and then he came to us. So maybe when he realised we were slipping into the relegation zone, he upped tools and kind of didn't want to make the numbers up. Q's also saying that some Chelsea lads on loan. Can he get Conor Gallagher over? That would be useful.
yeah. Where's Danny Drinkwater?
Is he still at Chelsea? He can't be.
I have no idea.
They've got Barkley, who just came out of the woodwork on Sunday. He hasn't been in the squad from what I'm aware of for months. He just suddenly came out the woodwork for that cup final to take the penalty. Thorium said that Notts County should have been motivating for them to stay up. Well, I don't think they needed the motivation. I think even without the fans, you know, if you're heading down, you know, push came to shove and the adrenaline, but the fans pushed them all the way and pushed them over the edge. And really, they didn't deserve that. And, you know, 3 months ago, we were saying when we were really sliding down the table, the fans were the ones who took action and almost forced Everton to get their grip on the situation and start picking up a few points. Because I don't know if the fans hadn't really stepped up, you know, even more. I mean, we've got incredible fans, but, you know, it just went up another level, didn't it? And I think that was really the driver.
We've got a Salbutamol FC supporter commenting quite a lot.
Oh yeah. We'll brush over that. I mean, for that person, they can just enjoy it. I don't know what they're doing. Anyway, they've got nothing better to do
than come on a podcast dedicated to their rival. Well,
probably haven't been again before. Yeah, he's just clogging up my comment section, if anything, which is just irritating. But keep going. Billy Gilmore. Yeah, he was at Norwich, wasn't he? But he I'm not sure. I think that's not a bad signing. What we need, we do need ball playing midfielders. We can't employ Frank Lampard's style without a ball player, and I think we will see an evolution of the style. He will try to go back to what he did the first sort of 3-4 weeks when he came in with the possession style, and I think it will take teething. We will have to be patient with him. We need a ball player. We need a set piece taker, and we need defenders who will put their body on the line and not get injured every 2 minutes. Easier said than done, isn't it? I think we're close to wrapping up because I know it's getting very late.
I was going to say I'm going to have to maybe call it a night and get a good night's sleep.
I think so. Yeah, I've got to go back to my university work, unfortunately. The life of exam season in uni, but I think I've got the adrenaline now from this evening to keep me going.
Or at least you don't have the stress anymore from this. I mean, as if it wasn't bad enough. Yeah.
Well, it was 2 sets of stresses, one of Everton and one of uni, and now a huge weight has been lifted. But if anything, if I hadn't have had my uni going on, I think, as Ryan said before, it would have been consuming me all the time thinking about this. And I think just to have the distraction is almost, is good, helpful in a way. But I'm still relieved.
You hear that in the background? That I don't know. It's just my dog going absolutely bonkers. I haven't even. I sat down and the WhatsApp was going like, get on, Jan. I'm like, oh Christ! I haven't even said hello to my dog, so she's like been poking her head around the corner like at the gate, and oh my God, going absolutely bonkers. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go see her soon.
Yeah. Well, I look forward to hearing if you are preparing a poem about this your experience. I'll wait with excitement to hear that. Thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Good to see you, Dave.
Ryan's for all the viewers. Thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe. And I think Ryan might be putting on another sort of review video quite soon. Thank you very much.
Oh.